what we wanted to talk about with the postmortem analysis was it's a process that we wanted to fully flesh out and kind of define how we were going about analyzing incoming incidents, things that came in from internal customer teams, and taking a look at the best way to be able to document that, right? And be able to record that. And so Miles was a big proponent for us being able to document that process in a formal way. And so that we could look back on those incidents that we had and be able to use that to track other incidents that came in as well, right? And so with that, Miles, do you want to showcase a little bit of the postmortem analysis process that we did specifically for KPV3,
Yeah,
and take a look at that?
yeah, I can share my screen.
And I want to point out here that Miles was like such a huge catalyst in us developing this process. And it's been super useful for not just the KPV3 team to be able to look back on incidents that came in from internal customer teams, but also to be able to put this kind of formal process to what is the root cause, what are the actions that we need to take if a similar incident were to come up. We have documentation to be able to reference and say, hey, we saw something similar before. What did we do to fix it? And it severely decreases your time to be able to fix, right? So I'll give a shout out at the end too, but a huge shout out to Miles for really helping us formalize this process.
And people see my screen? Okay. So like Scott was saying, during postmortem analysis, like when an incident happens, at least my process would be to take keynotes wherever the discussion thread was happening, usually in the Project K's Platform V3 channel. And so I'd take notes of what the problem actually was. So we'd get a summary of the incidents, what the root causes were, the trigger, and this is often really important because the trigger would happen on a delay, which would make it even more difficult to find what the current problem for the incident is. And also another reason why postmortems are useful, because if we have symptoms of, say, this postmortem at a later date, we can resolve that trigger at least before it even happens. We get the resolution, a breakdown of actionable or a breakdown of steps we took to resolve it, detection and action items. These make it we just have actionable steps we can take to prevent the problem in the future. Lessons learned, what went well, what went wrong, where we got lucky. And oftentimes, where we got lucky is that we ran into a similar problem previously. And then we also have a timeline to help visualize the whole process of that incident. And so I think Blair actually created a GitHub issue template to make the whole postmortem process even easier. So in issues, we can go to new issue, incident postmortem, and here, so we can just easily write in the information rather than manually creating a markdown file and formatting it yourself. You got all the fields necessary. And this is especially nice because it makes it so we can add the action items as tasks or issues that we can easily reference so we can easily, I guess, work on the problems. It was a sort of an issue we had before where with previous postmortems, we might forget about the action items if we just never went back to the documentation page to go and see those action items. So here's an example of one of these templated postmortems. And yeah, they got tasks we can select. And we also have the issue to, or the option to put issues in here. So that's all I've got on my part. I'll pass it back to Scott or Brad.
I just wanted to kind of reiterate what Scott's kind of already said. Definitely a very, very good process here. I was new to KPV3 and working on kind of my first bigger issue. And I did cause an incident, but it was like completely blameless. We just looked forward, we looked towards learning. And I think that can be like a valuable lesson and also like something we bring to clients. I in the past have seen a lot of like blame when an incident happens, and a lot of like fighting. So I just think like this learning approach was really refreshing once I got here and saw this kind of setup. But yeah, I think it's pretty awesome, and it's something that we should keep an eye on for clients if they have issues with this or kind of take the wrong approach of like a blame-based incident reporting. So yeah.
And the nice thing about this is, and to Brad's point, you've got somebody that is rolling onto KPV3, and maybe it's the first stint on Flywheel in quite a while. Take Brad for example, right? Somebody that's coming in and hasn't seen this platform before, and an incident pops up, and you're on the team now, right? And you want to help address something that's going on for an internal customer team. When you have these types of things at your fingertips, it makes that process a lot less stressful, of trying to help troubleshoot and get them to a solution as quick as possible, right? And so through developing these templates, through developing this process, if other work streams, or to Brad's point, client teams want to be able to spin up a postmortem process, these templates, all of this type of stuff really aids itself to being able to get that going quickly, right? And take that benefit elsewhere. So we've already reaped so many benefits of this process. And another thing to tack on here, if somebody's interested, if take the customer team, for example, if we've got Ollie or any other internal customer team that's leveraging KPV3 and they report an incident, right? We go through our postmortem process and we write up this whole document. If the customer team wants to go take a look at what that resolution is as well, like they can go take a look at the document, so that the document isn't just for the engineers that are on the team that's responsible for fixing the particular issue, but it's also for the team that reported it to be able to go in and they get to learn as well what the problem was, what the solution was, what was the process for the team for actually fixing that problem. And that way it also helps that team to be a little bit more autonomous as well, depending on the level of severity of the issue, right? If it's something small that pops up, and it's the first time and that customer team hasn't seen that issue before, they report it and we have postmortem and all of that. But if it pops up again, right, they can obviously report it, right? And we could help fix it, but it also helps them, be able to address it too. So it's really just wins all around, right? And to Brad's point, I also hadn't seen this really formalized even at clients, right? That you fix the issue and then things are green and then like you're good to go. But the return on investment for a process like this is massive, right? And we've seen it on KPV3, and we'll be able to reap the benefits elsewhere too. And Miles, Brad, Blair, anything to concatenate or add on to all of that?
One thing I might add is I think that it's been really useful in defining prioritization for feature development as well. So we have started tagging our postmortems with which like features or capabilities were involved in the incident. So it's like, for example, like a carpenter broke in a specific way. And if this happens several times, it not only, provides us more information and more tools for assessing like future errors and diagnosing which tool might be implicated in the problem, but it also helps us say, man, this carpenter thing is annoying. Maybe EKS auto mode is a really good idea. And it helps us decide like how are we going to start prioritizing like maybe what features to replace, what features to revamp, like in addition to just solving the sort of immediate issue, also making things more proactively reliable.